That's fantastic. I got a question. Anybody can answer this. Why jazz?
Why not?
Okay, that's the answer. No, what made you gravitate towards jazz rather than other types of music? Because you had, you played with the Joey D. You played with others, Elephant.
I played with Joey like when I was like 15 years old, 16 years old, and then a friend of mine, in the meantime, I was listening to Chuck Berry, Bill Haley and the Comets,
okay,
Elvis Presley, lead guitar player. And we were covering those tunes, and then a friend of mine played me a record of Johnny Smith. I said, "What's that?" He said, "That's jazz guitar." That was it, man.
Okay.
That was it. The electric came down. I haven't been the same since.
It's only music. Whichever direction it goes, it's still music.
Yeah. But it seems
Some
like
people call it jazz. It's hard to really pinpoint what it is.
Okay.
Because it's so vast. I mean, it goes across.
Of course, there's many different lines of types of music. Sheryl, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. And I've played a lot. I mean, I started out playing heavy metal and blues and rock. And in some ways, I still play some music like that. And I just love all music. People ask me, what kind of music do you play? And I say, good music. Because it doesn't really matter if I'm playing, a rock type gig or a jazz gig. I'm going to play it, give 100%, and I'm going to love it.
Now, when you're on tour, is it jazz?
For the most part, but I do tour doing klezmer, and I've done some pop stuff with, I don't know if you remember Irene Cara from Fame. I've worked on some of her projects, like real pop, and I love doing that too. I guess I love doing that, but I think what got me into jazz was harmony, in terms of the types of colors. You could play it in jazz. You can have a chord like something very pretty like that.
Right.
And that's to what drew me in were those types of sounds. I thought, oh wow! But that doesn't mean that I don't like to just play a power chord and rock out too. It all feels good.
Still play the piano?
No. But I'm sure my early piano teachers would be shocked to know that I was playing music professionally. I never thought she'd amount to anything.
Fooled them all, Sheryl. The Jazz Cat amp. Your take on it. You're here, so evidently you must love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, these guys were actually. I'd run into them at different events, and they were like, "Oh, check out our amp." And I said, "Well, I have an amp I like." And I'm the kind of person. I'm not necessarily. There's some people out there, they always just want to get free gear or something. I'm not really like that.
Me?
Yeah, like you. Exactly. And so I like. When I find something I like, I stick with it. And what's important to me is that I like it. I like to work with it. And so I was playing a duo gig with Howard Alden in town, and they showed up at the gig. They brought the amps. So I was like,
they were kind of like wedding crashers.
Yeah, kind of. They did the bums
They would just show up at all these places and force their amps on people.
And so, but it was actually kind of cool because I said, well, good, I have my amp that I like, and I try yours. And I said, I really love this amp. I really do. And so I was happy to work with them. And also, what's important to me, too, is these guys are just wonderful people. I believe in what they're doing. They're a small business. And, I think that's real important especially these days. We need to support these kinds of American small businesses. It's important to me. And I love their amp. So it all came together. It's easy
to travel with. It's easy to carry. You said you put it in the overhead.
Yeah, and I play in some loud situations too. I mean, my organ trio can get pretty loud. And actually, tomorrow night I'm playing also in the city. I have a Jimi Hendrix band.
Oh, really?
It's called Jazz Guitars Meets
Love
Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, everybody does, and it's not a cover band. It's jazz musicians approaching his music, but we get pretty loud, and I've never had any issues with trying to keep up or feeling like my sound was compromised anyway. You get me all ready.
Play some Jimi Hendrix stuff for us.
I can't help you there.
Can't help us? Okay. Who can? Come on. You can leave. Lenny, you can do it? Cheryl?
Close as we can get today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I've been very happy. Yeah, obviously I wouldn't have come out from New York today.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was a trip.
It's always a trip. Every day is a trip in this business.
It depends. Depends what the day brings.
That's exactly right. So
what the courier brings. But
yeah. So I'm happy to. I'm always happy to. And obviously, I go in Japan or whatever, people, wow, what is what is this amp? It sounds great, and I'm always happy to let them know, get them in touch with.
And that's what we're trying to do, is to promote it and get people to know about it, especially the musicians.
Yeah.
Because it's just a marvelous amplifier.
And how you, Vinnie? I know we kind of like forgot about you, but which may be a good thing. What are you doing? I mean, you have some ambassadors here promoting your amp for you, going out and telling the world how great it is, Japan and other places in Europe, and these guys are always playing something. What are you doing? Besides sitting here trying to...
I'm just sitting smiling from ear to ear.
How do you promote it? How do you get this thing out there?
We try to...
It's not easy.
We try to bum rush people. No. The main thing is to try to get reviews and things like that, because people read them. They do. And once you start getting... I have to say, if I can, just for a moment, that I love these guys. I mean, these... all of our players are just wonderful people. They're not just guitar, they're just wonderful human beings. They're great people, as you can see here. Lenny and Vinnie and Sheryl. They're just, they're great people to know. They're just salt of the earth. And they're tremendous players. See, when we talk about, and I'm not saying any music is necessarily bad or good, but I don't know if people were realizing the dynamics of what was going on. First of all, they hadn't practiced together, right? You guys...
No.
I mean, this is the first time we sat down together. Okay?
And they did pretty well.
And they did pretty good, yeah. They did. And I don't know if people were realizing that, what was going on was you could hear bass playing. Well, there's no bass here. So Lenny was playing bass, Sheryl was playing the lead, Vinnie was playing the chords, the rhythm, and they kept switching back and forth through this without even ever practicing with each other. They just said, okay, we're going to play. And in their ears, they can hear what needed to be done next. So when Lenny played, Sheryl picked up the bass, Vinnie picked up the rhythm, and then they just kept switching back and forth. And it's a...
Wasn't that one of the trademarks of jazz, though, right?
That is the trademark of jazz. And as much as I love other kinds of music, that's what really draws me to jazz, is that, like you say, the colors, it's just the spectrum of all the things that happen there. And when I watch these guys play, I just want to cut my fingers off and burn my guitar for heat and things like that.
I felt like cutting your fingers off when I heard you play the first time. But anyway...
So we're inspiring violence. Yes!
I really got to hold myself back. No. But do you...
I'm sorry.
You felt, I know we ignored you. We didn't have to fall asleep.
That's all right.
How many units are you estimate are out there in the worldwide right now? Because you got some great ambassadors out there selling these things for you, telling people how great they are.
Well, I mean, most companies don't usually give their sales figures, but I can.
I'm not asking for sales figures.
I can tell you that
how many amps are out there.
They're definitely in 4-digit numbers.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So it's catching on.
Yes,
that's the point. It's catching on, and they're out there, and
when you got great ambassadors and
people
who
starting
play,
to recognize that the amps are a valuable part of their instrument, and how do let's say I was a guitarist and I just wanted to get an amp. I don't have a band. I just have a little house, and I just want to play my guitar. But I want that amp. How do I get it?
Well, one thing is, if you're local here in Toms River, we have a great music store right on Route 166 called PMI.
Okay.
Nick is the fellow who runs the music part of it. Frankie actually is the fellow who does the... most people know Frankie Cicala, who...
two other Italian guys.
Two other Italian guys, Nicky Chili and Frankie Cicala.
Sheryl, you're absolutely outnumbered.
I know.
But that's good. That's
maybe
good.
I can be honorarium.
We love you anyway, Dave.
That's right.
Good.
But if they're local here or even close by, within 20 miles or so, go to PMI Music on Route 166. Great bunch of guys. They know the product well. The number there is 732-240-5000, and ask for Nick. And
you have a street address?
It's 1252 Route 166, Toms River, New Jersey, 08753.
Okay.
And the great thing about it is that there's a whole bunch of restaurants right there, and there's an Italian one called Il Giardinello's, which is very good. I don't know because I'm supposed to say all those things, but
I don't know. You've been rambling most of the show, so continue.
I don't even know why you had me. Just had these guys would be good enough.
I've been sitting here wondering myself.
Yeah. But anyway, if you're local or within 20, 30 miles, that's the place to go. If you're out of state, you can call Nick too if you're out of state. But we do have some other dealers.
So he's your main dealer?
He's a big dealer here in
distributor for you.
Yep. and he'll